What's up, folks? GW Prepper here. Today we're going to make a basic pizza crust. It'll be a yeast risen pizza crust, and I'm going to kind of just go over how I do it. I'm sure everybody has their own way of doing it, but I kind of like mine, like everybody else. Going to have to start off with a few simple things. First off, it's going to be, you need some, let's see if I can get it in the camera there, active dry yeast. We're going to need some sugar, olive oil, oh, and I forgot it, over here, oh, it's hard to do this backwards, there we go, salt. We're going to start off with just a standard, I just use a standard tablespoon. I'm going to open my yeast up. And I'm going to grab 1 tablespoon of yeast. About like so. See if I can get it in the camera so you can see it. Yeah, it's backwards. Seeing stuff is kind of funny. Alright, we're also going to take equal part sugar. I'm going to put that in there. Now, salt, I'm going to do just maybe a quarter of that. That's what I usually put in. I'll put that in there. At this point, we're going to get hot water. I got it straight out of the faucet, hot as I could get it, and put it in this thing, this measuring cup. And I figured it'd be cooled off enough to put it in here with the yeast. So now you just pour it into your bowl. Then we're going to take a whisk and whisk it all up real good. Alright. We will come back in approximately, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm going to show you, this is basically called the blooming of the yeast. I'm going to show you what it looks like when we come back. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. As you can probably see, I'm trying to get to where you can see it, there's a froth that's on top of the little mixture here. What we're going to do at this point is add in 3 cups of flour. Take just a second, I gotta measure 1 more cup. Okay, the best thing I have found is a wooden spoon. You just take it in here and you just start incorporating everything together. And it starts pulling it off the sides. Get a ball of dough. Now that we have a ball of dough, we're going to put it on the surface. I'm going to try to reset the camera so I get the surface. Okay, now what we're going to do is take some flour and dust our countertop. Then Got to make sure you got a little flour in your hands before you start messing with the dough, or it's going to get all over you. And what we're going to do with the dough is just start kneading it. Now, I've seen all kinds of different ways to knead it, but this is the one that works for me. I just keep pressing it into itself, and I go around my little dough, or my little flour area right here, and keep putting a little more on there. I just start forming it into this ball. It doesn't take that long. I've seen people say you need to knead for 10 minutes or something like that, or you need to have your mixer, and I just don't see it. I've been making bread and dough and all kinds of stuff for quite some time now, and I still have never used a mixer. I imagine it'll probably be a little easier, but it just seems like it'd be more cleanup to me. But your dough is going to get a consistency that is almost rubbery looking on the outside. It's, see if I can put it up here so you can see it. And you just kind of roll it into itself on the bottom side. At this point, I'll grab another bowl here. What I do is I just take a little bit of olive oil spray and just dust the inside of the bowl. Then I take this ball of dough and I stick it in here. Then I'm going to show you what I do next over at the sink. This is my secret for raising dough, so stand by. Okay, here we go. What I do is I turn on my water and I wait till it gets as hot as it can get. Now plug it up, and we're going to put about 4 or 5 inches of water in here. It doesn't take a whole lot, because if you put more than that, then the bowl's just going to float. And also I'm going to make a note that I use plastic bowls because they just seem to work out great, and they transfer the heat from the water to the bowl to help with the rising process. That's probably enough right there. Now, we're going to take our bowl, and see there, it's already floating a little bit. We're going to take our bowl, stick it right there. Then I just basically take 2 paper towels and just put them right on top, like so. Then we will come back in 1 hour and we're going to take a look. Okay, it's been right at 1 hour, so let's take a look. Looky there. It's gotten at least double in size, so I'm going to take it back over to the counter and I'll set the camera back up. Alright. I'll go ahead and grab our bowl of dough, and I'm going to dust a little bit more on our surface. This is the stage where we're going to punch the dough down a little bit, so I just get a little flour on my hand. I pull the dough out, it just rolls right out. Then you can kind of see how it's starting to just press down, and you'll notice that the dough is really warm doing it this way, and it works real well. And basically we just do it like we did previously and get a nice texture with the dough, get it worked into itself. You don't want to over knead it because then it kind of makes it tough. But I usually don't have that problem because I don't need it that much. Just as much as, you know, much as required. Now, we've got us a nice little dough ball again. And I'm going to get a Ziploc bag, a gallon size. And I'm going to stick it inside this bag, like so. Now, what we're going to do is close it, but not all the way, because we want the air to get out of it. And as it's rising again, it'll pop this bag open if you don't have an air hole in it. Now we've got it in the bag, and we're going to let it rise again. Actually, on this side right here, you want your the part that you folded in up underneath. It's kind of important that you have it kind of the way you want it when you put it in the bag, and then when we pull it out again, we're going to set it back on the counter. We're going to start rolling it out and get it ready for an 18-inch pan. So we'll be back in about an hour. Okay, our dough has rose again in the bag. I'm going to go ahead and put a little flour on my hands and a little bit out on the table. I spread it out a little bit. I'm going to grab the dough out of here. Now the dough is a little wet, so don't worry about that. Also, at this point, you're going to want to go ahead and have your oven turned on and preheating to 500 degrees. Alright, got some nice dough here. I'm going to throw a little flour on top. Don't be worried about putting a little flour on it. It's not bad at all. You can kind of see that it starts moving pretty good. At this point, we're basically just going to start rolling it out. And I do a little bit of pressing before I get a rolling pin and keep a little dough on it, or a flour, excuse me. Get my rolling pin. Now we're going to kind of try to get it into a circle before we put it in the pan, as close as we can get it. And this takes just a few minutes. It's not that big of a deal. Getting it stretched out. Just keep turning it over. You're going to want to keep doing this until it gets close to the size of your pan. And then we'll use our fingers and stretch it out the rest of the way. Now, when we get it fairly close to where we want it, we're going to get, and I use white cornmeal. I guess you can see that there a little bit. I'll take a pizza pan, like so, and I take this cornmeal and I sprinkle it across it. This keeps the dough from sticking. There's another type of flour you can use. I've never used it. Everybody's always talking about it, but cornmeal's cheap, and I know what it is. Okay, so basically what we're going to do at this point is take our dough and set it on here. And a little bit of this cornmeal is going to stretch, or not stretch, but go off the edge, which is fine. As you can tell, we had our dough, get it a little bit where you can see it better, right there. Our dough was fairly close to the size we needed it, and we're basically just going to push it up on the sides and get some of that excess cornmeal off. And you'll have a couple little spots that are a little puffier than others, but it's a homemade crust. It gives it character. And you can use the palm of your hand to start pressing it in towards the ends, around the edge. This is just about where we want it. Now at this point, here it is. I take some olive oil. I take some olive oil and just kind of spread on a little bit. I take my hand, I just rub it in all the way around. You're going to want it to get all over the top of your crust and everything. This also helps with the browning process. If you don't have any kind of oil or butter or something on your bread, it's not going to brown properly and it'll be overdone. Alright. Now, let me get a paper towel and wipe my hand off. Now what we're going to do is sprinkle, on this particular pizza I'm going to be using oregano flakes, just standard oregano chopped leaves out of a can or a bottle. And I just put them on the crust. This is the part where you could make a butter, garlic butter seasoning, or any kind of seasoning that you want to put in your crust to be your base foundation for your pizza. I like oregano myself. It just does real well. And make sure you cover the whole pizza so it's even in every bite. A little more. Okay, at this point, we're going to take just a standard fork and start poking holes in it. Now, I don't normally go all the way through to the bottom. Sometimes it does, I guess, but I'm just trying to keep it from blowing up too much while it's in the oven for the first 4 minutes. When we put it in the oven, it's going to cook. In my oven at 500 degrees, it takes about 4 minutes to pre-cook the crust. Pre-cooking the crust helps you get the inside cooked properly, and then when you pull it out from the pre-cooking, at that point you're going to dress it with however you're going to dress your pizza. think everyone's going to like the results. I've seen lots of ways to make pizza dough, and they all seem like they're fairly easy, but this is just the one that became easy for me. And you'll come up with your own ways of doing things as you get more proficient with working with dough. Alright, we're going to stick it in the oven for 4 minutes, and then we'll be right back. Okay, here we go. The pizza has been in the oven for 4 minutes, and at this point I let it cool down for about a minute, and then I'll start putting my ingredients on it. Pizza sauce, whatever. But this is a basic pizza dough prepared for you to dress it however you want. I'm going to go ahead and just add at the end of this video, I'm going to actually dress the pizza, but this is the part that I want to show, just getting the dough so you can create a pizza of your own. But we'll go ahead and dress it up just so you see what the final product looks like. Be right back. Okay, we're back. The best pizza sauce I have found, other than someone making it themselves, is actually the dollar brand great value type sauces. I don't know if you can see that or not, but these sauces are thicker than the more expensive versions, and they just have better flavor to me. I don't know why, but I've tried all different kinds. And I usually put about a quarter of the bottle in, and I'll spread it all out like so. You don't want your pizza sauce too thick, because if you do, you'll take a bite out of your pizza and sauce will go everywhere. I did it once, made it like that, and it just didn't turn out right. But this is kind of what you want it to look like. Okay. Now, since this is going to be, a pepperoni style pizza, we're going to go ahead and put the cheese on next. And I basically use the shredded part skim mozzarella cheese. I get it in the big bags of sand, and I can make tons of pizzas for around $13. And usually an 18-inch pizza takes right around a pound of cheese to turn out right. And basically all you're doing here is just trying to make it even. The cheese will melt and fix a lot of your gaps and such, so you don't have to like super cover everything. But I like cheese, so we're going to. Now I also cook my pizza on 500 degrees. I've found that the crust gets just how I like it. A little bit crunchy, but not too hard. And everything melts real good. And it takes about 7 to 10 minutes, depending on the toppings you have on the pizza. Now, I think that's about enough cheese. Well, almost. Try to keep it off the edge of your crust if you can, because it melts in there and turns brown. Alright. At this point, I'm just going to grab some pepperonis. And guys, I didn't prep anything. This is just what I do when I make pizza. I mean, there's no special prep involved. I just start grabbing stuff and start putting it together. So I'm probably going to edit out a little bit of this putting the pepperoni on because it's kind of self-explanatory. But it doesn't take long, and I like using a lot. And the neat thing about making your own pizzas is you can customize them for you and your family the way you want them, and it'll be hard to beat if you go out. I mean, some of the real high dollar pizzerias and such, yes, they're going to have great pizzas, and yes, if you're pinched for time or you just want to make a family event, it's great to go have those. But this style of pizza right here costs approximately $3 to $4 for an 18-inch, as opposed to going to a pizza place and paying whatever their prices are. I don't even know, because I don't go buy pizza. They can't touch mine. But I think that when it comes to, and I'm going to put this up on my prepping channel as well, but when it comes to prepping, saving money and doing the best you can with the resources you have is definitely the way to go. Now, my philosophy on prepping is I'm not gonna do without. If there's something nice I want, I am going to learn how to make it myself, so I can do it for about a quarter of the price that it normally costs. So you still get to have the best of everything, but you spend less money, and that's smart. So, look at that. Alright, I'll be back in about 7 minutes, and I'll show you what the finished product looks like. Okay folks, here it is. Perfectly cooked, and you're going to notice that it doesn't stick to the pan. Perfect. The cornmeal comes right off. I hope everybody's enjoyed the video, and hope to see some good pizzas out there. GW Prepper out.